This is hell. Like Earth is hell. And when you hear shit like, what you're talking about, and then the incest thing and that guy, you're just like, fuck, man, this might be real, man. We might be in hell, guys.
When MacG was too serious.
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
Language is real. Language can cause an effect on you.
I see what.
But
You can't fall so quickly, so come on.
No. I see where he's going. It feels like they capitulated, obviously buckled under the pressure. That's what I'm saying, man.
He can believe that there is a genocide against white people. Only white supremacy can win, can convince Donald Trump of a lie of that magnitude. They don't play with branding. They'll strip the Louis Vuitton bag, that LFD. Not on this show. When I got there to Malawi, my man, those people were calling me point of in a about 3,000 people. So what were you talking about, man?
Hey, I'm talking about the way I see it, man. Remember,
what do you see?
You ain't been to Moria? I've never been,
and you
man.
sitting here making a bloody opinion.
I've never been.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Please welcome Soliano, Ghost Lady's here, Tiffler's here, Shots is here, Leo's here, Fat Checkers here, Shane is here. And please welcome our special guest today. He's a friend of the show. He's a failed politician now turned broadcaster, Dr. NDLOZI.
Radio man. Don't leave me hanging. Shock jock.
How's the broadcasting life treating you, bro?
Exhausting, exhausting. But we're trying. It's been just a few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done 30 shows yet.
Yeah.
I'll check, yeah.
So what time are you waking up nowadays?
I'm not sleeping.
You gotta sleep, dog. And it comes out on the show. You can hear sometimes this guy's falling asleep now.
When you don't listen, don't lie. When okay. Wait.
Even the people.
What time do you wake up?
On a good day.
Sometimes even the people who are listening to him are falling asleep. Drop this fucking thing of yours.
So your sleeping patterns are fucked now.
Yeah. I'm nocturnal, so I used to sleep in the morning and all of that. But it's a show. I'm readjusting. The body is a creature of habit, so we'll see.
But your show's at 9, or 9 or 12?
9.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah.
So you can get there maybe at about 8.
Are you mad?
What?
Nah,
and then do what?
Prep.
You are going to ask half-baked questions.
So what time do you get into studio then?
7 a.m. every day.
Meaning you wake up at about 5, 6?
Yeah, 5. Every day, 5. I mean, I don't get to sleep until 5. Between 2:30 and 3, I'm up. It's finished with me. Yeah. I'm hoping it will readjust at some point. I was asking Sol.
Yeah,
because he's got an earlier show.
Yeah.
And his energy is consistent on both.
Yeah.
From here to here.
Everywhere, even outside, in between the studios.
Yeah. What do you do? You're still eating drugs or something?
Yeah! I take a whole bucket load. No, man, I've done breakfast for my entire radio career, funny enough. I've done breakfast.
Okay.
So, fresh from the internship at YFM, I did breakfast. From there, I did breakfast. From there, no. From there, I did breakfast. So I'm used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, you haven't even done 30 shows. And
I haven't.
Your entire life, you're an academic.
How long
professor.
has it been?
Me? On radio. All in all.
20
years.
How long? How many years?
First time I was on radio, do you count Varsity?
Yeah, of course. It's radio.
Yeah, that's 2006. Shit, yeah, but I was off radio in between.
Yeah.
So maybe cumulatively 15, 14 years.
So I'm not going to wait for that long to get this thing right. 12 months maximum.
So it's a short-term contract.
Ah,
How did you negotiate? Because
I didn't.
did I just tell you
Yes,
this?
this comrade, he said to me, look, I don't know what you are doing, what you are planning, but it looks like you are expiring.
Damn.
It doesn't look like it's going to work.
Yeah.
You remember 8 years ago, we had this chat and I dismissed him. And at the center of Mkari's first proposition was, let's go start a church. I think he was serious.
Yeah.
I said to Mkari, I've got 3 crazy ideas. The third one was radio.
Yeah.
And I dismissed it and agreed with him after a month. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes.
Have you been getting hate mail yet? Has the hate mail started coming?
But I'll tell you what happens. What has changed is a tiny little. There's too many people who are saying it's good that I'm not in politics.
Okay.
I don't know how to read that,
Mm.
and it's with a lot of enthusiasm. I don't know whether they're saying it's good that I'm not in politics and that I should never be in politics again. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of compliments. I get it almost every
Because
day
the first few weeks are the hardest ones.
in radio.
Yes, because remember
How many is few weeks?
Okay, I'd say give it about 2 months. Because remember, it's a transition period so there's people that used to like the previous.
Hence, that's why it depends.
Yeah.
Who was doing the show before? If they did a great job, then people will reject you.
Yeah.
You know?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, yes. It's like a new heart in a different body, and the body rejects it. Especially if I was doing a good job, the previous heart. Who was doing a previous show?
It's Lerato. Don't bring that.
Which Lerato?
Put it in an arrangement of this nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he's drinking.
Oh, so it's like he's drinking. He's drinking.
He's in Rome. He must do what the Romans do.
Yeah, when in Rome.
My son doesn't drink, eh?
Oh, I'm a tank, man. I'm a tank, man.
You're a
I do drugs, I drink, I do everything, bro.
Yo,
I don't do drugs.
I want to ask you who comes
drugs
up.
are wrong. Drugs are
Yo,
wrong.
I don't do drugs,
Yeah.
guys.
Who
It's
comes up
God-given.
with the topics for the show?
No
Because there
drugs.
was a show I
I
wanted
do.
to listen to when you were talking about incest, but I didn't get a time to check that out. But that was quite interesting.
Yeah. I we linked that to incest is a big thing in this country.
Hey,
Majority
bro.
of which is not reported.
Yeah, I didn't know
in
that.
this country.
Yeah, bro.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Like
There is-
consensually, right?
There's a book I read in my first year. It's called, I don't remember the title, but it's about incest in the Afrikaner community.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is solid.
behind white South Africa and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's a psychologist, so it's actual real cases with, I think, anonymous or different names, pseudonyms, but they are trying to paint a picture of the extent of incest. And many of us in the Black community have had cousins, uncles, and all of that. But these days, you would remember there is a guy about a month ago, or if not less, a white man who raped his infant child.
Yeah, that
killed.
fucker, saying she was making noise.
Says she was crying uncontrollably.
He wanted to teach her a lesson and shush her up for good. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Some sicko. 5 months, baby. It's a 5 months or 5 weeks.
And it's your own child.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck no.
I think it was
Crazy.
about 7 months or 8 months.
Five.
somewhere.
It was 5 months or weeks.
It was on
Why
TV.
didn't that make it?
It was on
It did. It was huge.
It was on
Huge.
TV.
Huge. There was all
It
over.
was on TV.
I was really interested because I've heard rumors, like, especially in the white community, like, it's a very, very prevalent.
So we
thing.
linked that with the problem of pregnancy, because teenage pregnancy in particular, to try and one of the things that came out in that show is that majority of the teenage pregnancies are actually not sugar daddies. It's actually peers, more or less. Like
Yes.
18-year-old with a
Abantwana besikolo, yeah.
16-year-old. But majority is the 21, 22-year-olds sleeping with 15, 16-year-olds, and somewhere there, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the link therefore is ezinye zezisu is actually incest. Actually, it's not safe. Like, even if you are they say our brains are not fully developed until in the late 20s.
Yeah.
25, 26.
Yeah, like
Mine, I'm still waiting.
just-
I'm still waiting.
I mean, the introduction of alcohol
Intango.
at an early age affects brain,
Intango.
nsango,
Yeah.
all types of smoking material. And if you do sex before, so we treat it immediately as a taboo. Like most of us don't talk openly with our parents. So you do it under conditions of peer pressure.
Fact checker, you had your hand up. What did you want to say?
I wanted to correct the statement. The daughter was actually 8 days old. And the father was 37 years. His name was Hugo Ferreira.
8 days.
Hugo Ferreira.
Not 8 months, 8 days. Yeah.
Yes, no man. Yeah,
man,
So
that
when
is
you did that show with the
evil.
Afrikaner and the Incest being big there, what was that all about? Like, what's the reasoning behind it? Is there an ideology, a thinking behind it?
I don't know. I think it's do you know historically in psychoanalysis, Freud traces the origins of moral law to the prohibition of incest. So incest is actually, in many royal families, they do that to keep what they believe is the royal blood,
fortune,
which is obviously now, I mean, why are they still doing it now? Because there's nothing royal in the blood
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you ought to know that there's no scientific basis for that idiocy. But there's a lot of...
Love you calls it idiocy.
There isn't. But yeah, I mean, it's there. It's not spoken about. It's too embarrassing. It's too humiliating. But guess what? I mean, one day on the show, there's a caller that literally collapsed me one day. She's like, on the Cwecwe question, she speaks about Cwecwe and then she speaks about Omotoso. And she says, look at the case of Omotoso. I'm happy I didn't report my rapist. I mean, that is what we have come to. And now I'm happy because I would have, what if my rapist would have been like Omotoso? Then I would have been left as the face of rape.
Yes.
Because that woman went through rigorous court interrogation as a witness.
Trauma.
And all of that. So, but all these things, in many ways or one are related but that's what rape does. That's why people avoid it. Because it is a mechanism, it's a technology of humiliation. Yeah. In a context of incest, you can just imagine, who raped you? My father.
So with a case like Omotoso, how did the courts get away with it, man? Because we can all see it. Like, obviously, there was some envelopes and it's shady, man. Konusha man. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? How do the courts blatantly just get away with it?
I don't know. There are two things here. The NPA's own weakness. I think we've got to do a lot of investment into that institution to prosecute crimes. But also the judge, my man, if the NPA that's a criminal case. If the NPA was not asking correct questions, the judge should have posed the
Those
correct questions. If he wanted or she wanted to get into a criminal case, if you wanted as a judge to get to the bottom of something in a criminal case, you can do that. You can pose questions. And in this case, I think she can't just say the NPA didn't, pursue this or that line of questioning. I hope they appeal. And I hope they keep him in the country so that he doesn't skip. Otherwise, it'll take 5 years or more looking for him like the other guy in Malawi.
Bushiri. Oh, yeah. Hey, what was going on with you and him?
Papa. The mighty one.
What happened? I just saw him reaction. I just saw him reacting.
I saw it was in the prep here. Let me find it. It was actually the first story. What did it say? Oh, here we go. It says, Dr. Mbuyiseni NDLOZI and Prophet Shepherd Bushiri having a go at each other after NDLOZI questioned Bushiri's source of wealth while delivering a lecture at the University of Malawi.
You should play the clip for our people because I never said Bushiri ever. That it's coming out of my mouth for the first time.
Okay.
I never said that. But of course, I think that if there is any honor and integrity to Bushiri's calling, the number one rule of a spiritual calling is the truth.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be scared if you know the truth, if the truth is on your side. Do come and answer those questions around your financial activities in South Africa. It perpetuates this idea that, the criminal justice system in the country that housed you, in a country that welcomed you, that its people embraced you.
Enriched you.
And enriched you, because if you did take offerings even for yourself, you've got to return that particular, if those allegations are being made and you know you're on the right, don't run away. Ubalekele. Ungabaleki. And that's all. I mean, really, that's all. And the point I was making is there are no conditions under which it is justified to cheat, steal, scam people. Not in the name of God, not in the name of the people.
What's your take on that? Because you're a church guy, man. And we've seen, man, there's so many fake pastors now who are praying.
All over.
Praying
Scammers.
on the poor who just want hope, you know what
Literally
I mean? A better life. Yeah.
Praying on them.
There's scammers everywhere, man. Like, there's Instagram scammers as well. There's
Yeah.
scammers, there's influencers, like, who influence and don't galore. What is your opinion that you are driving?
Yeah, but church is a place of God,
yes,
bro.
Yes, I think to do that in the name of God
Yeah.
is very dangerous. Because the concept or the idea of God attracts the most vulnerable. When you are broken, you went to church.
Yeah, yes.
You pray before the show. It's a thing that, you shouldn't use, because vulnerable people come to you.
Yep.
And divorced people, abused people, people who are going through financial stress and all of that, unemployed, poor, and so on and so forth. I think that it's a high calling and we must treat it. But people can see it as a scam to make a lot of money.
Bro, they even have debit card machines now at churches.
I don't know if you're paying, because the churches get robbed.
So it's not,
so it's not a,
carry cash.
I mean, we shouldn't be technophobic, A machine means it's safer for them, because
it's a convenience.
People come and can rob them of the tithes. They do that, They guard them and then they rob them. So the introduction of electronic payment systems is not a bad thing. And I'm not saying to bishops and pastors and whatever must not be compensated. I'm saying it can be a scam. You can scam people. You can sell them false miracles. You can't do that. You can't say that, I'm walking on the air.
Yeah.
And then you didn't. When the movie, so I'm walking on the air, and then we can see the shade
and the rope.
I was in heaven last night.
Yeah.
Remember the guy who faked a resurrection?
Yeah. What's his
Resurrecting
name?
a person and
Congolese guy
in a church. You can't give people rest. You can't give people. But so it's the same with people who say banobungoma. They then also get the traffic of vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And they've got in their disposal the capacity to manipulate herbs to cause damages to people. You can't. When a person says, give me poison. You are complicit in crime. You should be arrested. You can't do witchcraft. Witchcraft is wrong, period. Even amongst the practice itself of traditional healing, ubungoma, and all of that, witchcraft is prohibited because witchcraft is the work of hatred.
Where does it come from, bro? Like the history of ubungoma, do you know? Like if you...
History? It depends which part of the world you are in.
But
I mean, for as much as... No, it's not unique to Africa.
For real?
Japanese have ancestral worship.
Yeah.
The Europeans... It's everywhere.
Indians.
It's everywhere. In majority of indigenous, historical, the Native Americans do ancestral worship, or, the ancestor is important as a medium of divinity. Yeah. Most cultures in the world, most cultures in the world use herbs. There's very little that is unique about that terrain. It could maybe language, maybe certain traditions in it, but as a regime of spirituality, it's not unique to Africa.
Bro, there was a friend of mine, he once told me...
So it was African spirituality.
Yeah.
You don't like, no, ancestral worship, but that's not unique. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people across the world in many cultures, before Islam, before Judaism, you must go look at in the Bible itself, when God is calling Abraham, he's calling him out of what type of a religion. So it's not unique, not at all.
So I was saying, this friend of mine, right? He's like, you know that saying, hell is on earth? He was like, we are in hell now. This is hell, like earth is hell. And when you hear shit like, you know, what you're talking about, and then the incest thing and that guy, you're just like, fuck, man, this might be real, man. We might be in hell, guys.
When MacG wants to be serious.
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
Imagine, man, this is hell.
Ah, man, it's hell. When you look around you, bro,
Incest is hell.
Incesting.
doesn't it cross your mind, Paduka, like, hey, man, this might be hell, bro.
I
but
get
it's
a lot
been
of
like that for a long time, bro.
You know how, I don't know about your experience. A lot of people say, apartheid was better. You know, during apartheid, there was no crime. During apartheid, there were morals and all of that. I'm like, what are they going on?
The system was a crime.
What
itself.
are they going on
Vegan.
about? How do you arrive at the conclusion that what we're having in this reality now could be in any way worse than apartheid? But there were no potholes.
Bongana straat is spreid, hè? Men gele spreid, bongana straat is spreid. Dat ik weet, bongana straat. Like, bongana manzi, bongana Casey.
Because no one could go anywhere.
Apartheid, ama toilet be ngaphandle.
Yeah, true. And that was so normal. That was normal.
And if you have a person, an elderly person living with Alzheimer's, aphume ebusuku ngama night dress. Because the restroom is outside. Mayibuya kasayazi indlela. Yomfixa same street, 7th house. And then the myth yokuthi kade simtshela lo gogo uyathakatha. The next thing they are murmuring her.
Yeah, that happens a
Beating her
lot.
up, and then the community comes out. You know, she's half naked. If she's dark, it's worse. She's particularly dark skinned.
Yes.
It's worse. They may even burn her alive.
Is that not hell, bro?
But I'm saying you will find this phenomena across the ages. Across the ages. We have to push back. We can't spread despondency that we are being overwhelmed by reality and we can't get out of this situation.
I get you.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do what you're doing here. We have to push back.
Yeah.
Spread the idea that human agency can still disarticulate the situation.
Beautiful. All right, let's get to the shits, man. So this week, everybody's been talking about the US and China trade war.
Yeah, the tariffs.
Yo, bro. So Trump's game of tariffs is coming back to bite the USA as Chinese citizens flood the internet to expose the luxury goods industry. TikTokers from China made waves when they broke down the prices of making luxury bags such as Birkins, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and others. The so-called luxury bags that cost in the 40s and above thousands of rands cost only a fraction of that to make in China. And the brands just attach their logos, which then increases the value of the goods. Your thoughts, Pinduka?
Yeah.
But we've always known, man, you know, that brands, that's it. Guys have always like, even with the local guys, you know, say, yo, man, this guy was a Galaxy Boy or whoever or Trip, they just buy the things, put the brand on. But most brands do that generally, you know, and I think it just exposes how even the legal brands, it's all scam. It's a scam. And you're buying the logo. So I'm glad people know now, but I feel like it won't make a difference. People still buy stuff, the Gucci. You saw Black Coffee as a bicycle that's 700,000 rand. And this guy, you know what I mean? The one that used to deliver milk in like us. No, for real, but it's just
Yeah,
Louis
it does,
Vuitton.
it does,
This
yeah.
guy,
It's
let's
a
have this guy.
looking bag.
The one when you break, you shuffle backwards.
Fix Mankokwa.
Yeah, it's like a 6 month coquine, whatever that is. Maybe they call it that in the vault.
It's a Louis Vuitton
Bicycle. Yeah, like
They make
700K.
bicycles now.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, yeah, clearly. You know these luxury brands, they'll make even like cutlery and plates.
Tissue,
No,
tissue.
for real, yeah.
do.
Tissue. For real, yeah, boss.
They're close to making air, bro. I wonder how much that's going to cost.
I think that's not fair. I mean, with the brand question,
Do you own any Louis Vuitton, Gucci?
no. Nah, I don't.
Yeah, but you don't strike me as a guy who likes those things.
No,
Maybe once you're spoiling yourself.
never. We have different tastes. We have different,
Preferences.
but I do think that in this case, we're talking about foreign brands. But earlier you were mentioning, for instance, Batu.
Exploitation.
Yeah, the local guys, yeah. they make the stuff from China.
Could you
as well.
say that about, for instance, MacG?
Ooh, Makosa is slightly different because Makosa, the stuff is it's like Sepo Jean's his garments. Obviously the t-shirts he probably stocks somewhere wherever they make them cheaper. I know his shop where the people sew. So similar to Makosa, he'll buy fabric and literally sew the stuff because it has to be a particular design and detail. It's not just branding.
But what are we paying for in the market? We never really are paying for the materiality. We never really are paying for the labor. It's not unique to clothing. It's every brand.
True.
What are we paying for?
Yeah, that's the question we must ask before we dismiss. Because there'll be quality control mechanisms for different... There's definitely quality control related to those things because they do last longer.
Nah.
They don't?
Not all counterfeits are of inferior quality. So I went to China, right?
Hey!
Hold on. No, for real. So I went to China, right? And I went to China, and then we got to this place, tech something, but they've got not just technology, like items, Off-White, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and it's literally some are from the same factories. Some guys say they get the templates, or when it bavalile, then from the same factory they'll make the fake stuff, right? So it won't go through the rigorous because QC, but the quality is as good as the legit stuff. So it's I don't think we're paying for that these days. Back then, when people were making amafeki in different factories, yeah, but we're just paying for the branding and the marketing and Louis Vuitton. Spending all that money to market their stuff and brand it that is for rich people, yes, and it's an insinuated status. It's not like a real thing because it is still.
I think it's real.
It's still no. Why? Because it's not real because it's still a 200 rand t-shirt. It cost them 200 rand.
It's as real as a song.
Nah.
So the regime of symbolic classifications of the symbolic world is very real. Language is real. Language can cause an effect on you.
I see what.
But
You can't fall so quickly, so come on.
No. I see where he's going. I see where he's like language. No, language is made up. Language is in our heads. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like when a dog barks, we assume it's gibberish, right? We don't know whether they can hear one another. So,
But
as gibberish as the brand is.
What is that that dangerous dog that eats people?
Pitbull.
If pitbull eat lapaya manji. Yes. The sound.
Yeah.
The sound.
Because we know what it implies.
Yeah. I mean, you make music. You must understand the power of culture.
Yeah.
Make music, and sometimes we quite frankly cannot distinguish in calculated terms why this is a better song than this one and why this one goes much wider than a specific, we can all as like maybe some niche audience say a specific jazz song is superior because of the blow of the trumpet and blah, blah, blah. But the masses, it doesn't appeal. And in the age of gigging, you make music by gigging. You make money by gigging.
Yes.
That person, it doesn't matter whether the song is sophisticatedly composed. If he doesn't have the symbolic mass, he won't gig or she won't gig. And if she's not gigging, she won't make money. They better find another job. So we sometimes don't know. Nobody could have said, my piano will definitely be big to this extent. You couldn't have calculated it in any way because it's the life of symbolic products. Their materiality is very minimal. It's like, what's the value of the rand vis-a-vis the value of the dollar? You know what I mean? And particularly after the gold standard was ended, that, currency used to be based on how much
backed by
gold
gold.
reserves you have. Now, what is it based on? You know what I mean? So I'm saying that when it comes to these brands, we've got to appreciate that particular aspirational, the capacity to build an aspirational brand and have a following on it, like MacG did. It's something that is out there. It's like bracelets of, what are those things? Cartier.
Cartier.
Yeah, bracelets, watches, and all those things. Those are aspirational brands. They get built and deployed in a specific way. That is what you're consuming.
I get you. Okay.
That's what you're consuming.
Man. I get it.
So you're saying that's where the value is?
Yeah, the value is in the brand. It's a powerful thing in that terrain. I do think that if we were sitting with somebody, I don't think we do. You don't.
No.
Certainly, Paul, you don't do that. So
Do what?
luxury brands.
No.
But those people will be able to tell you how to judge the quality, the stitches, the this, and in those shops to say Chinese. It's like we are Tugana. China is a super industrial community.
Yeah.
And its manufacturing capabilities are so advanced.
Out of this world.
They are able to, on the floor, exercise different mechanisms of quality control of different products. Not just the clothing, but a variety
Everything.
products.
Yeah,
So
iPhones, everything.
I think that they would be able to tell us that a shoe of Louis Vuitton goes through this and that process, which is different too. And then they make it scarce. It's like when they say we're going to do 10 Lamborghinis and we're going to do them in a special way. And there will only be 10 in the world and each is $5 million. Then we are saying we forget garage. I'm the only one in Africa who has this one. Kulmaning is
Black coffee.
that
with
means
spike.
something.
Yeah. He's the only one.
Until you find out how much it costs to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the life of brands like that.
So
I think.
if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying the value that they do, that they put on these goods can't be diluted. Just because we found out how much it costs to make the actual product.
If we were to subject all products to the same thing, you would find that we're being ripped off. But in this case, you thinking of the consumer, the workers are being ripped off. The workers are being ripped off. Go check what workers who produce bread that is eaten on every breakfast table in South Africa get paid. I'm saying that capital does that. It always tries to the extent that it can, rip off the worker and rip off the consumer to maximize profit. It's not just with luxury brands. Most of the brands, the making and the selling, you'll find there's always a huge TV,
Cars,
But at what point?
phones, yeah.
At what point is it? Because like when somebody creates something, they do have the right to put whatever markup on it. At what point is it? Because I believe if it's for the purposes of profit, then naturally somebody's getting ripped off.
First, the worker. The first people all the
You need
time.
to drive the cost down.
Yes, the first person. It won't go to the market. By the time it appears in the market, the worker is already ripped off.
But at what point are they not ripped off?
I don't think.
At what point, what's fair?
Socialism is what's fair when the workers themselves own the products that they produce. But then there's this symbolic thing you're talking about the play of shades, of shadows. That game. You should see it in the arts, in the paintings, when paintings are being sold. You're thinking, Jackson Pollock, for an example, with his abstract art, this like, and then it's costing a fortune. It's more expensive. A piece of sheet. It's costing 3 times the most expensive house, maybe, in Sandhurst.
Yeah, I've never understood the
Worst
painting
scam.
things.
Yeah.
Eh?
Worst scam.
I've never understood
Artists,
the paintings.
Worst scams. Art.
I don't think it's I don't know about scam.
No. I've seen there's a thing that's happening lately, right? And look, no disrespect to artists, but similar to church, there's a lot of untalented people, artists. We've seen the videos on TikTok where a white guy wearing black clothes, looking very like minimalistic, throws paint around the room that is hanging, and then he knocks it against another
Jackson
paint
Palm, yeah.
that is hanging.
Jackson
You get me?
Palm style.
There's no talent in that, right? And then you get real talent. Then you get real artists. You get Nelson Makamo, proper. You can see this guy sitting, sketching finer details, similar to the person in China putting together an iPhone with the tiniest of fingers and precision. You know what I mean? So artists become a playground for a lot of scams. Not art itself is a scam, but a playground for a lot of people who have no talent, no business in the art world, but they just pull it off.
What is the biggest scam? For instance, what we're doing now, like we sit here, the three
I'll
of
tell
us.
you.
Siyakhuluma. And someone's going to try to do that. And abakhuluma ngama-mic nje, yabona?
Yeah.
And then it doesn't quite go well.
Yeah,
It doesn't quite. And they're like, what's the magic?
We need a ghost lady.
we need a little
ghost,
pants. Yeah. And they love that one. We need a ghost. We'll switch it and make it a dude.
The broadcasters, advertisers. You want to understand the art of symbolic constitution. You are the first guys to have to break that down. I mean, why? How does this work? And I got you guys on my show, and you couldn't say this is the formula.
Yeah.
You couldn't say because of 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
You had to do a dance, and in the process you were learning, and like that, until it was mainstream. And then now it's mainstream. We don't know. Maybe we will find out. I certainly sitting here don't know. And then DSTV comes. I'm sure the numbers are like the Louis Vuitton bag.
It's a bag, you say. It's a bag. Samatarian.
Louis Vuitton. You're the biggest Louis Vuitton in town, man.
I'm following. Yes.
I'm saying the world of symbols is not. You couldn't say sit here and someone says MacG is scamming us. Scam kanjani, because you are watching.
Yeah.
You got a point.
Yeah, you are watching. At the when there was
And we could in the same light go to YouTube and be like, we are those guys that get ripped off at the bottom of the food chain.
Oh, yes.
The workers. Yes.
those guys.
Because YouTube is making a lot.
YouTube is making kills.
Far more,
creators.
And I don't think we'll ever be able to quantify
And bridge that gap.
Jesus, there's an ICT report that came out last week, which is published by ICASA. And they put the how much Twitter, Instagram,
YouTube.
They don't have YouTube. That was my point. They've got Twitter, they've got social media, and they say collectively, I think they make, I don't remember the figure, maybe over 400 million.
Yeah, I saw that. I think. Just check.
Annually. I don't remember the figures, but YouTube is not there.
Yeah.
And all of those can't come close to YouTube.
Nah, they can't. I can tell you for free, YouTube
They don't
makes
come close.
way more money than we do. We don't even make 1%.
Not even one, bro. One what?
No, it's not possible. Yeah. It's not possible. It's massive YouTube, eh?
It's huge.
Yeah?
Massive. And it hasn't found a competition.
Yeah.
No.
No, they can't.
It hasn't found, are you aware? Like, Facebook found a competition, like in the few years. WhatsApp, Mixit was trying. Maybe that's another platform that is not finding proper competition, because during COVID, they were changing configurations, and then Telegram just went up in terms of subscriptions.
Yes.
They were like, we have to returned the security features.
Yeah.
Then it went back to its hegemonic position. But YouTube, who's competing YouTube?
Nah, and they've
That's
tried.
Google, man. No one competes with Google. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Google.
even as a search engine, yeah.
Yeah, because they own YouTube.
Wanted to get you. You got a question?
Yes, I've got a
Yes,
question. On the China exposing these luxury brands, aren't we also maybe happy because people see kind of like a business opportunity? Because now these factory owners, these guys who make these goods, were showing how much it is, and obviously welcoming business as well. Saying if you want to also do a bag that is of similar quality for your own, so are we not grateful for that part at least?
You don't want. We still are struggling to get our textile industry up on its feet. I don't think we want that. We want to have the factories here, not in China. We want to have the jobs here.
But it costs too much.
Yeah,
Hey,
to
it
make.
costs
yeah.
too much.
No,
So
in the-
my
in-
T-shirt will cost 2,000-3,000 rands.
No, I'm saying in the short run. In the short run. So there was a time when China was not the destination for textiles. But they had a plan. They had a plan. They had the So these get rich quick schemes, short-termism in policy decisions is not going to take us anywhere. There's nothing you're going to build without going through some tough time. And there are no microwave solutions to economic development. But this country had a textile industry that was massive.
For real?
Yes,
bruh.
yes, it had a huge textile industry, and there were several problems. Firstly, the cheap labor in China, but secondly, technology.
Also, we didn't keep up to.
We didn't keep up with technological evolution. Yeah, so. But I do think that
What
the
were we making here? Were
opportunities
we exporting?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. I mean, think about clothing in the country. From the sheets of the hospital, of the prison, the uniforms of police,
Blankets.
like that's textile, man.
Yeah.
You know, and if you meet the Minister of Health today, say, how many of the sheets are produced in South Africa? Look, the procurement, that's how you're going to get it up. You use the capacity of the state to buy. Because 2 trillion rands of the budget, majority of it you can, try and say, whoever is producing the blankets here, we buy firstly from you before we go to China or Indonesia or whatever. But certainly South Africa had a good textile base. What I like about those TikTok videos is the first campaign, because the first campaign was showing Donald Trump and different celebrities on the floor doing the shoes.
Yes.
Are these the jobs you're looking for?
I saw that. Those AI videos. Yeah, so.
Because it showed that there's actually an army of workers in China on the shop floor. The reason Americans are not doing that is because even if those factories were to go to the US, it will probably be Hispanic people who work in them.
Yes.
Not the white.
No, I mean, what's it called? LVMH. They do Louis Vuitton and stuff. They've got a factory in Texas, but they can't use 90% of the goods coming out of there because they don't fit the quality they desire. So all of those bags are disregarded and stuff because the factory in Texas is just not on the same
Top
level
notch,
as
It has to be in China.
Yeah.
So now, when Ghost Lady asked a good question, and your response was good, that we must protect or try rebuild whatever textile industry. I mean, we had, what's his name from Force Law? David Tlale. He was complaining exactly about that. And I know that the fashion designers, remember we spoke about it.
Yes.
They marched and sent him. So wouldn't you say that Trump has the right idea for America? Because that's also in part what he's trying to do. Trying
crazy,
to
man.
protect their local industries, trying to protect Teslas as well, so that Americans don't buy foreign electrical cars due to tariffs.
I don't know. I've been trying really to put myself in the shoes of Americans, the shoes of Trump. So certainly
That are made in China. The shoes of Trump are made in China. You don't even MacG hats. You know they're made in China.
Isn't that thing a wig?
Yeah.
It's probably made in China.
Yeah, and China is causing him hair loss. The irony.
But I can't see the logic of those. Firstly, the origins of tariff policy as a mechanism or a technology, a policy to drive industrialization originates in the US, because there was a time when the United States was not the industrial hub of the world. The colonies, particularly the prices of agricultural products. And Alexander Hamilton said, let's use the tariffs to do what they call protection of infant industries. So you got to choose which of those industries can you gain competitive advantage on. One, you have to choose the products. Say, with these products, firstly, for national security, we must have our own cars. For national security, we must make our own guns. For national security, we must have our own cell phones, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But unfortunately, if you do a blanket arrangement like he did, there are agricultural products like passion fruit that can't grow.
In that side.
It can't grow.
Or mangoes.
Period. Yeah, it can't. Avocado and all of that. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, true.
It didn't make sense. And then comes this question. What he's looking for in China is high-end goods, that China must buy high-end goods from the United States. Because China, I think, their biggest item from America is sugar beans or something like that.
Yeah.
And they feed it to the pigs. It's food for the pigs in China. He's trying to resolve that. And then he goes for the world, antagonizes his allies on the one hand. On the other, drives inflation up. And then on specific items you cannot be competent on. But also you have to have a gradual approach, because there are skills related to some of these things. They may seem like they are idiotic. If you opened a textile industrial firm, or let's say laptops, you still need skills. The Americans have not been doing that for 30 years. There's a generation that has not been working in factories for many, many decades. So the people that need jobs now, you'll have to skill them, and that takes time.
And in China, they start them young. Have you seen, like, in
takes time. You will have to gradually do it. You know what I mean? And then there's capital investment to those factories and all of that. So it doesn't make the tariff policy. That's why it was suspended, as far as I'm concerned, because it didn't make sense.
What's your take on Trump and what he's doing now? Like, are we going to look someday and be like, yo, that guy was a mad genius, or he's just totally lost it?
I think he lost it. Certainly on the tariff question, I think he lost it. And he has suspended, he was trying to get at China through the rest of the world. It didn't work. I don't see those
Explain
crazy...
that. What do you mean, get at China?
He's trying to confront China.
With collateral damage.
Everybody's collateral damage. Lesotho, for an example, why they got over 50% duty on their product is because during the first term of Trump,
yes,
and certainly I think as well Joe Biden, when they did select products to put a import duty on, China just went to redirect to Vietnam, to Lesotho,
Singapore,
and So what is targeted in Lesotho are the textile base of the Chinese.
Oh,
so Lesotho supplies, in a way, many people didn't know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of jeans.
Yeah.
Levi jeans and whatever. They come from Lesotho.
That's crazy.
Wow, man.
Yeah, they come from Lesotho. So that's why Lesotho got that crazy. He's trying to stop redirection. Where the Chinese are going to use different mechanisms to get their products to that market, because the United States certainly represents the highest percentage of consumers in the world. Yes. Certainly it does that. So I don't see, with regards to the trade policy, there is no way you're going to look back. The United States is struggling with the fact that it is no longer, its industrial power is no longer the only power in the world. To try and... We have entered full steam, a bipolar world, a world where there are multiple superpowers.
In this trade war, who's got the chances of losing the most between China and USA? Who's got more to lose?
Hey, it's hard to say. It's very hard to say. Americans can take a knock. I mean, what are we looking at? Majority of the products are going to arrive expensive.
Yeah.
And then most consumers won't be able to afford them. China is losing. Definitely, in that sense. But what does that lead to? Will really Nike and all those people relocate the factories? That's not what Trump is looking for. Trump is looking for a deal where the Chinese buy high-end goods, from the, because that's what that market, produces. I don't know. And the Chinese are very determined, my man. They are very determined. And I don't know. I think there are two risks. The first risk is you can only increase to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So the first risk is a military confrontation. I mean, through trade routes and all of that. That's the first risk that we may face, and it will destabilize the world. The second risk is the total collapse of dispute resolution international forums like WTO, where they are totally discredited. Where will you go if you are the European Union, if you're South Africa, to go and have some framework of an international, negotiation of treaties and all of that? And these were all institutions propped up by the United States. Is flattening and is defying them. So the breakdown of international or multilateral institutions takes us to a very uncertain global future. I don't think it's desirable for anyone.
And how does this affect South Africa? Because already the US is attacking us, man, with all this stuff they've been doing.
Yeah, you saw what happened with our Trump imposing 31%, I think.
Yeah.
But he exempted minerals, platinum group metals. Because South Africa supplies about 38% of the platinum group metals, 38% of US's.
For real?
Yes. Jeez. Because, I mean, we are the platinum capital of the world. Us and Zimbabwe.
We're carbs.
That I think it's the reason South Africa's government is so calm. I mean, if you look at them, they're not going. They don't have their heads spinning.
Yes.
They've got that ticket, and it's a real ticket. It's a real ticket. They're not just not panicking. They've got a ticket. What? America needs. And the second largest is Russia and Germany. But it's possible that even the German ones come from South Africa. I haven't studied that value chain properly, but certainly that's what South Africa's negotiation ticket is.
And why do you think he's attacking us? Well, the US, is it because of the Israel-Palestine? ICJ.
It's convoluted for me. On the one hand, is it Afrikaners? I mean, Trump is committed to a lie. I don't know if somebody could say, okay, Mr. President, there's a genocide. Yes, there's a genocide against Afrikaners. In the last year, how many of them were killed? And compare that to areas where there's actual numbers of people who are killed. It's going to be an embarrassing figure. It's going to be definitely an embarrassing figure because of the figures in South Africa of murder. The highest is black men. It's black. Actually, it's much higher. Black men killing black men. There is no ethnic targeting in relation to murder numbers. So on the one hand, there's that. I certainly think, coincidentally, Elon Musk was very cool with us, if you remember. Was cool with Ramaphosa. They were calling each other and all of that. And at some point, the Starlink deal.
Tango.
He's like, no, I'm not going to give BEE people anything. That's racism. That's the first, I think, link with the AfriForum campaign. Because those PayPal people are former South Africans or they are South Africans, depending on how you put it. So they've got a huge audience with President Trump. I think they put a lot of money into his campaign.
And a lot of influence as well.
Yeah, they seem to have, certainly the South Africa relations, I can't put it down to anything else except that PayPal mafia.
Makes sense, man. Speaking about Starlink, Lesotho has granted a license to take billionaire Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet service. Hours after denying it was fast-tracking the process as part of the U.S. tariff concessions. The small African kingdom was hit with month-to-month tariffs of 50% on goods exported to the United States, the highest for any single nation on President Donald Trump's now paused tariffs list. The levies were reduced last week to 10% for a 90-day reprieve. The Lesotho Communications Authority and Starlink, owned by Trump's close advisor, Musk, made its application in April 2024 and will be issued with a license valid for 10 years. So that means if you're in Bloom, you can just go across the mountain and then
You get Starlink.
Oh, you don't have to cross. You'll be able to connect maybe 60 k's radius around the border.
You take on that Paducah.
No, it feels like they capitulated, you know? Obviously buckled under the pressure. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm fine, it's the matric. I start a PhD, I'm fine. But yeah, it feels like they just buckled
Did you hear Marula say pussy luminous?
No!
I saw that. I saw you tweeted it. You pussy up there.
What is that word again?
Yeah. Pussy what?
What's the guy going on about? Yeah, man.
I didn't hear that, bro.
Yeah. But I think it makes sense now that we say in shed light, the fact that, and you know, bro, when you go to Lesotho, the Chinese pretty much run the show.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't get in it, I remember we couldn't get like alcohol because all places were closed, and a Chinese guy, you know, made
Yes,
it happen.
I remember.
Oh, you were there, yeah.
I
And
was with you,
so Chinese run, there was so much influence, and obviously, if Trump, you know, punishes Lesotho with tariffs, then jobs get lost within Lesotho, then China will try to redirect through a different country, you know, getting their stuff in America. So they've got so much to lose, you know, they caught in the middle. But it feels like they're hoping. It's like us now going to the ICJ and dropping the case against Israel because we hope to please Trump, or bringing Starlink in because we hope to please Elon. If you make Elon happy, Trump is happy. So I think that's their play. I don't know though, because he just highlighted that it's not even about Starlink, you know, it's about China's presence in Lesotho.
All right. Also, Kenny Kunene calls EFF leader Julius Malema a toothless toy soldier. This comes after Malema criticized US president on his utterances against South Africa, the tariffs, and his attendance of the G20 summit to be held in SA. Your thoughts on that, man? What do you think, Doctor?
Dr. Saul.
Dokotela. Ay, dokotela.
Tanzozi.
Is there politics?
The previous question was political. Can we exchange? I can break down. There's nothing of money, of significant money that Elon is going to make in Lesotho with that deal.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Zero.
Zero.
I mean, half of that population lives here.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it's just it won't work. I mean, I don't know about Kenny and the duty of a revolutionary is always to agitate. And I think that we must not retreat and demonize people who sing to Blipon. No. We sing this theme every day when we sing the national anthem. We must not bow, and I don't think, certainly, if you want to do proper international relations, you can make the same message that Kenny wants to, you know, throw without demonizing Dublipun. On that, we must all take Julius's side because that's our heritage, and the song is important even the day we have the land. There is no relationship between singing that song, even during the struggle, and a hatred, racial hatred against white people. I've never met blacks who hate whites. I've never. I don't know. I mean, all our ancestors didn't teach us hatred. Mama Winnie, even Peter Mokaba, who liked to chant Tubulipunu, they never spread
Oh, you're
hate.
so right, because when I was at Prime Media, we had a meeting with John Robbie. You know John Robbie used to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
702. And he said something, I'm like, till this day, I didn't understand it. He was like, black people are incapable of being racist. I'm like, what does he mean by that?
Mm.
You know, when you ask that, it's the same thing, right?
No.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, it sounded like, whoa, wait, it sounded like the
Well,
same
you would
thing.
have to say
It sounded like the same thing.
racist against whites.
yeah.
Yes.
You have to complete it that way.
That's what he means.
Yeah.
The racist he's
Yeah.
talking about is that.
And I was like, it made me feel some type of way. I'm like, what are you saying?
It sort of is right, man.
Yeah, because, the fear of dogs, the mere fear of heights, or the fear of spiders, fear of blacks, fear of whites, and so on and so forth. But racism is a certain structural capability of exclusion. The capacity to exclude you from admissions. I wouldn't really quite matter what my neighbor thinks of me. It wouldn't matter until it closes the road for me to go to school. White supremacy is a structural power. Is that when you are hated by whites, you will have a sitting president of the most powerful, most industrial, most scientific country in the world. That's the country in which Albert Einstein, ended up, the father of relativity. That's the country in which some of the brilliant minds in the world, some of the brilliant discoveries were made, Thomas Edison and all those people. That's America. And that country can have a president who believes in non-existing phenomena. He can believe that there is a genocide against white people. Only white supremacy can win, can convince Donald Trump of a lie of that magnitude. It's the privilege that comes with white supremacy. And I think that's maybe what John Robbie was trying to get to. But I'm saying that the struggle in South Africa never ever arrived at we must hate whites. Not Subukwe, not Mandela, not Steve Biko, not Winnie Mandela, not Charlotte Maxeke. None of them taught that particular discourse. And the point is, you're trying to highlight that 31 years now since democracy, since 1994, the reality is the black population and certainly African people remain in, outside of the economic ownership of South Africa. And that's not right. Access to the land, to jobs, to banks.
And
you know
it's so
what
funny
I mean?
because that's what Trump wants to do for his own people. It's so funny, man.
So I don't think, I think Kenny is misfiring on that one.
Maybe you had too many sushis.
I lost that long time ago.
Yes, we haven't spoken about this because we're waiting for you to come so you can break it down for us.
Okay.
Which is the VAT increase, yeah?
Oh, yeah, the
The
VAT.
ANC is expected to abandon its push for value-added tax. Oh, is it? In the upcoming budget, following intense opposition from its coalition partners in the GNU and other political parties. The decision comes after a series of meetings between the ANC and various parties, including the DA, where it became clear that there would be little to no support for the VAT hike. Oh, shit. They're taking it back.
They might.
Wow.
But ngicela amanzi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Say less,
ngoba
say
lolu
less, say
daba liyofuna amanzi.
less. Say less. Can you get him some water there, please?
I mean, what's the question though? And if you will, I'd like Saul to start on this.
Okay.
Saul has very great insight.
Yeah, unless he's talking about you.
No. Hey, we said we were gonna wait for you, man.
That's a soulful water.
No, you can pour them in there. There's glass there, there's ice there. Everything for the doctor,
Why
man.
does it have a label? Amanzi olwandle. It's from the sea. Those from the sea look like this.
Or maybe that's why.
Abadlali ngelabel la. They don't play with branding. They'll strip the Louis Vuitton bag, that LFD. Not on this show. Yeah, man, not on this show.
Penduka, your take on the VAT increase, bro.
No, I'm happy we're here now, man.
Yeah.
Because we voted as a country, and
Yes, sir.
and after we voted, it was a GNU situation that we looked at, and then people got together, agreed on the GNU, and then there was, which they governing together.
Yes, sir.
And then there was a bill, a budget thing with a VAT bill, with a VAT increase on the cards, and they couldn't find one another. And then now they went outside, and I'm glad that the other parties are saying we're still not coming to the party. These guys must sort out their own things because they are leading together. And if the ANC is then gonna want votes, of course the guys will say we also want positions. You know, we're not, because we're not in the GNU. It's like, while we're making decisions for the household, but we're not getting the piece of chicken that the parents are getting. You know what I mean? We're still on the outside. So I think it's great. But also the reason why, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they wanted this VAT increase is because we got so much debt as well. As a country.
For me, and you know, from the outside, it looks like these guys are broke, which is ANC.
Yeah.
And they can see their time is running out. So they just wanted to loot one last time. One last time.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's more money, right, in the fiscus, right? Yeah, fair enough.
Rocky.
If Treasury collects more, SARS collects more taxes. Well, true, bro.
It's like Pete did it before they arrested him. One more freak off, just one last one. You know when they arrested him, he was going for a freak off.
Yeah. Just one more. I know I got one more in me. I know I got one more. What's fucking your baby oil? You try slip from the long arms of the law to go get his freak on.
That's ANC for me, dog.
I don't know. And it's right to look at it like that because, you know, there's been so much dishonesty, there's so much money lost through corruption and things like that.
Bro, I read another thing a few weeks ago, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, I'll find it. But it showed that since ANC has been power, over R1 trillion has been mismanaged, corruption, whatever.
Believable.
And then they started writing the things they could have done with that R1 trillion, you know, like every citizen, I think, in the country could have gotten 25,000.
You mean since 1994?
Yeah, since 1994.
I doubt, man. R1 trillion.
I kid you not, R1 trillion. They've looted more than R1 trillion.
So I'm a billion 8,000.
Yeah. And then it wrote like how many people they could have put to school, how many varsities they could have built and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I think
Look, even if it's not R1 trillion, a lot could have been done. Still, even with the
if
wasted
it's a
and
billion
stolen
rand,
money,
yeah.
a lot could have been.
No muntshontshe rand ungalutshontshe.
Ngathenge izambane,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you can, well, iqanda. Maybe not izambane. Iqanda.
But I want to say
something.
something about VAT. For me, the interesting thing about VAT is the political dynamics around government of national unity. Two important things all South Africans must keep in mind. There is an international pressure, which I realize now with Jonas's controversy, Mcebisi Jonas. One of the most important and influential think tanks, the Hudson Institute. We must all start paying attention. In South Africa, you pay attention to the Brentest Foundation. If you want to understand what they write about the continent and all of that, represents the interest of South Africa's major capitalists.
Brentest is funded by the Oppenheimers, right?
Yeah, it's an Oppenheimer. It's an Oppenheimer outfit.
Yes.
But in America, apparently, the Hudson Institute is the sort of think tank that has gained much more influence on the Trump administration.
Oh, wow.
And you must go check. There's a guy there who writes for them, who wrote a piece around early March and says South Africa's anti-American posture needs to be taken head on. And they say we've got an important GNU must be kept because it's got people inside that are pro-American.
Yeah, of course.
So they're talking about the DA. Obviously.
Yes, the DA.
So DA has a big sort of pressure, and I think that's why they couldn't walk away. Because they put an ultimatum. They got the ANC to move from 2% to 0.5%.
Yeah.
And then they walked out. They said, we're not going to vote for that budget, which was shocking. And then if needs be, we will walk. Then the bill passed, well, the fiscal framework. Then they didn't walk. Then they started saying, oh, business letters and so on and so forth. But in the US, there are people who say, GNU must not break. They are triangulating it in the trade, the changing trade routes in the world, because the Cape of Good Hope is about to become strategic with the instability on the Suez Canal. Very important for us to pay attention to American interests, and they may consistently sabotage whatever, ambassador that they will go dig until the ambassador that President Ramaphosa sends or a special envoy is somebody embedded with their interests. That's the first thing. And certainly with the VAT, that's what's interesting for me. Saul has covered the sort of consumer importance of the danger of a VAT increase. But the behavior of the DA is what we need to study. We need to keep our tabs on, because they say, look, business doesn't want us to walk away, number one. Number two, if we walk away, South Africa will be a failed state. The alarmism, the
doomsday.
So the interests that are articulating there is the attention on foreign. America needs South Africa to align completely with its interests against what it perceives as Chinese interests. And the last point I want to make then is when you sit down and think, what is DA foreign policy? What is DA foreign policy? Helen Zille gave a long talk in which she was very critical of Trump, characterized what is happening as a right-wing shift, because at the time Trump had just humiliated Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine, and was like, we don't want to fund that war anymore, and the whole liberal establishment caught feelings. And around that time, Helen Zille was outlining, this is a right-wing government. Americans have produced the right-wing, the voices that used to be vocal, silence, and so on and so forth. We'll have to look at that, because where Trump is driving the world is towards a reactionary path, right-wing path, and so on and so forth. And yet, that administration wants the DA in the GNU. So I think Libona, they are beginning to recalculate, and as that they can plug into that power, and so on and so forth. I think we ought to be worried, because Action SA enters with a promise that they're going to get this VAT out. And everybody mocked them. DA ran a huge campaign to mock them. Now the papers are telling us, actually, the VAT may be withdrawn. Which means Uncle Herm, umalume wenu, and maybe the Deputy Minister of Finance, maybe. Uncle Herm. Uncle Herm properly maneuvered, worked within the system, and the ANC is looking at mechanisms to withdraw that 0.5%. And maybe they will. And after that, you're going to have the DA still there, because there won't be a 0.5. Then their justification would have been, no, we managed to negotiate it out, or thank God, the team of Herman Mashaba found alternative revenue mechanisms. But those people called the Democratic Alliance have Western pressure to stay. They've got Western pressure, possibly investments as well. Like they will give them all the money for campaigns and anything to stay in the GNU.
What happens in those meetings when it's a standoff like this? Are tempers heated, or like, is it just...
Yeah, it can.
For real?
Yeah, we can drop a meeting. I shouldn't say.
Does it get violent?
Things I no longer have the rights to speak about. But certainly, some delegations can say we're not comfortable with the presence, for instance, of Helen Zille. We are willing to talk to you, but don't bring Helen. Why? Helen has Tuga. So it's going to be difficult. And it's like, nah, Rasul must go, bring someone else. We can talk, but Rasul must go. So you can have personalities that will not be able to sit across the table and discuss the state of the country. So I think that certainly over the weekend must have.
Bro, so what's MK doing at the moment, man? Because they won elections, got their seats, and they haven't done anything much since.
What did they win?
What did they win?
I think they're winning wards.
They got a chunk of votes. They got the most votes in KZN, but obviously they got locked out, through partnerships, the DA and the ANC doing their thing, you know what I mean? Everybody coming together.
Lectures on JZ or something.
Yeah, because they hurt the ANC. They're the reason, the ANC got hurt at the voting stations.
They need to say, who's this guy that got the ANC at 40%, man?
Yeah.
JZ.
Yeah.
G20, what happens at the G20?
Well, world leaders...
you've been to one, eh?
Uban.
You?
No. I've never been in government.
Oh, yes.
I was always in parliament. Trying to understand this and that.
Yeah.
The opposition benches.
Hey, when I got there to Malawi, my man, those people were calling me point of in a drop. I mean, about 3,000 people said,
damn.
Point of. I was like, oh my God. It was so goosebumps, my man.
Oh, man.
And they do, and some of them are half, like, they get the shirts off, you understand?
Cheers.
That thing of parliament, my man, it's everywhere.
Next time you come on the show, that's what we're going to do when you enter. Point of God.
Point of chocolate.
Shining, I'm a baby oil.
Point of God.
Yes. So G20. What?
Trump says he's not gonna come.
Yes.
But it's like the top 20 rich countries in the world.
Okay.
There are these international forums who gather to try and make the decisions around international trade, around international...
So is it different from the WHO? What's the other one?
WHO is about tariffs. It's
different.
Negotiations on tariffs and... these are like the top 20 countries.
Is that World Health thing?
I mean, be patient.
So,
WHO is the World Health
No, man, what's the one with the
WTO.
WTO. Oh. No, he knew what I was saying.
Yeah, but I mean...
he should have started by saying, no, health. There's a coffee.
It's okay.
Those are the guys who coffee who said,
you
wear
can't...
masks and shit.
You can't do that thing of mind your language. You still mind your language. La.
Yeah.
This is chill. Podcast and chill. I say mind your language. He wants to call a point of order on you, my man.
So, those are different. It's two different things.
No, these are top 20 top economies.
Okay.
They try to coordinate the world economy, make deals and all of that. Very important for investments and all those things.
So this is where we get screwed then?
Not really. I think, South Africa's international influence is very important, my man. That it is part of that group in the first instance. And it's because of its geopolitical position. And it's said that we have weakened that position. All of us must go listen to President Mbeki's lecture at it's called the Aziz Pahad lecture, which the Department of International Relations hosted, because he basically characterizes that influence. When we have activities in the continent like peacekeeping missions and so on and so forth, that's influence. That's important that South Africa unites the continent. That's why South Africa is a target. It's not because of itself. It's because of its geostrategic position. That's why South Africa, apartheid was important in the Cold War, because it represented Western interests against the communist influence in Africa. And this geopolitical strategic influence, taking into consideration the mineral needs in the continent on the one hand, and the sheer capacity of, in this case, the Chinese to can redirect some of its production or manufacturing sites into the continent, to spread its continent. That's what America is worried about, is that South Africa's part of the international progressive forces. You understand? You know, in the 1970s, about 1974, I think, China was part of the developing world until maybe 1990s. But around that time, there was a Cold War. And Mao Zedong, then the head of China, was in a conversation with Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia. Said, look, I think the international relations system has to be redefined. There's the first world, the second world, and the third world. And we are in the third world. And we're not going to be part of the Cold War. We were non-aligned. We're not going to choose sides because none of those would be in our best interest. Of course, Russia didn't mind to consistently arm liberation fighters to fight for... But America is worried about that particular triangulation, that historically China is that friend of the continent, of Russia, of Vietnam, and so on and so forth. And in the changing balance of forces, South Africa presents a challenge to them. And President Mbeki says, well, we'll also have to start saying, what is our interest? But you are unable to stand firm and strong in an international system if you come alone. We have to consolidate the continent. That's what gives us an advantage. But we have weakened, look at our military budget, our capacity to do those missions in the continent. And look at our relations, look at Rwanda-South Africa relations, look at what's happening in the Sahel, South Africa's
DRC.
Influence, yes, the DRC, South Africa's influence in the continent over time has been dwindling. But also institutions like African Union in the continent, its capacity, has been dwindling. And those were important and certainly are going to be important in this changing global system. Africa can't go there divided. You can't have China, Lesotho say, no, come Starlink. You understand? If you don't go to South Africa, China will approve you. And then have Zimbabwe say, you will zero rate your products, America. And so then that is already we're slowly entering into a second round of the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference is that conference in which European nations came together and divided Africa amongst themselves.
Yeah.
If we are not careful, that's what the West is going to do. That's what the superpowers are going to do. Others will go with China. Others will go with Russia. Others will go with the European Union. Others will go with America. And then there won't be an African interest. And yet all those people are able to say a Chinese interest, a European interest, an American interest. Tina Caesar as little forces trying to cut this or that deal, Then when you look at the map in the next 10 years, it will be East Africa belongs to China. You understand? Yeah. Central Africa and Southern Africa, America. And then North, maybe France. And so on and so forth. And maybe South Africa isolated there, non-aligned or whatever. That particular history has the capacity not so much to repeat itself, but to happen in the ways that, again, reposition Africa as a marginalized place where, anybody in the world can come and nitpick. We're the only ones that can be divided and that can act against our own interests.
That's crazy, man. Penduka, anything else that caught your attention this week?
No, I just want to ask you, man. So with Mcebisi, obviously the video came up where he was saying Trump is a narcissist. Trump is a dickhead, pretty much, So I think...
Jonas is that character in the Bible that got swallowed by the whale.
No.
Jonah.
Jonah.
Oh man. So
It's Jonah.
Jonah. Yes.
But Jonah is not the same.
Oh, Jonah.
It's
Yeah,
not
I
the
think it's
same.
Jonah.
I think it's the same.
I need to read the
Jonah.
Bible more, man.
Get Jonas.
Jonas.
It's Jonah.
It's
Oh, you don't pronounce the S.
No, it's Jonah.
Who's
H.
Jonas? It's a different language
I think it,
of the same character.
Yeah, I found no Matthew's Mateo. So it can't, you know what I mean?
Like Jesus and Yeshua.
Yeah, same, yeah, exactly.
Fake lady will help us. Yeah.
Yes.
Make your point.
Checker.
Make a point.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's true. Jonas is Jonah.
Mateo. Maybe to the book of Genesis. I would no, the book of Genesis.
Ghost lady, I got
Book of
Tabla
Genesis.
Sunday school.
It's the book of Genesis.
And she
It's
worked at a church,
Genesis.
imagine.
And she's a church person, as born again, church leader, Guinness Kwama. Okay,
Ufundi New Testament pay.
Yeah.
New Testament
Oh yes,
only.
yes. Born again. Said the key. You still keep the key.
No, I don't go to church anymore.
Oh. Used to carry the debit card machine.
Yes.
Yes.
I find that hard to believe.
Thank you.
I will not join this masculine.
No, Jonas. Come, Jonas. We're the Jonas brothers.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the DA, obviously, I think he'll probably unpack his bags because you've seen
He's another weekend special.
And he was in the finance ministry. Remember?
He's another weekend special. Jonas, the weekend special.
Remember Desmond Royan, man?
Keep his captain. Somngush.
It sounds funny, so yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, that is gonna fall flat. I don't see him lasting in the US. And earlier on, I mean, you did the DA. You said it's very American leaning. They wanted to put Tony Leon's name in the hat, right? What kind of person should we send? And I think you covered that a bit. But also, I don't see it as, it's not gonna fix our problems with the US. And I think the ICJ, our case against Israel, and our foreign policy and us leaning towards China as a country, our foreign policy is maybe what Trump is looking for us to adjust. How will sending the right guy help at all without us, hopefully not, adjusting our foreign policy to appease the likes of Trump?
We have faced, certainly, as the liberation forces, we've been in this position before of a hostile United States. So that's the first thing South Africans must appreciate.
Mandela still died, was still banned, right?
Well,
Officially.
he had been there many times. I mean,
Yes.
the point is we, in the struggle, faced the might of the United States. We faced the hostile America. We faced a hostile Western world that was on the side of apartheid. How did we disarticulate that? That's the first important point. The Americans were brought kicking and screaming on the table by the masses of the people. United States, ordinary people,
For real.
are the ones that drove massive protests in the anti-apartheid movement. There, students, workers, and then significant what was called the Black Caucus in Congress. Got Congress to pass an act which posed sanctions on South Africa in 1984. And then Ronald Reagan vetoed it. Said, as the president, I won't recognize it. Used his power, his constitutional power. They went back to Congress and got a 2/3 majority to overturn the veto power, not veto, of Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan imposed sanctions on the apartheid regime, engafuni, because of the might. That's so. We must remember, America is a democracy. It's a democracy. There are so many voices in the US that don't agree with either a racist agenda that is brought by AfriForum of being associated with the beneficiaries of apartheid, and we still have friends there. We still have a lot of friends there. That's the first thing. The second thing is South Africa is not on the side of China. South Africa is on the side of itself and of the continent. We must distill, and certainly in this case, there are friends in the world, but we don't need an enemy called United States. We don't need that. We must completely cut ties to say we're brave and all of that. No, we must define an African interest and stand up for those interests. And it's very easy to break what those interests are based on our geopolitical position, like our world position. What is it that the United States wants in South Africa, in the continent? What does China want? Bangasfagi in there, because we have problems to solve, certainly. And there are many criticisms that can be put on Chinese relations with the continent. They are not relations that have allowed us to develop. And I like the attitude on the South African government not to panic. There certainly can be individuals that can be sent there. When the WTO, even when AGOA was coming up, there were serious South Africans who are much more senior than Jonas that worked in those deals. The ambassadors to the United States during the first term of Nelson Mandela, the second term of Thabo Mbeki, the first term of Thabo Mbeki, and the second term. There are ministers that are progressive that have worked in the trade unions, like Alec Ewing, who come from a progressive tradition, who understand the trade interests that need to be guarded in that special envoy. Sisulu, and there's a whole lot of names of senior, including diplomats, that are well-trained, well-experienced, that can go there and do a diplomatic mission. A diplomatic mission is different to what Rasul was doing.
Yeah,
Rasul, it was like he's a Fees Must Fall activist speaking from the picket lines of Fees Must Fall.
You're a diplomat, bro.
And then says, no, those are my views. When you are there, you're not representing yourself.
Your
You are
views don't
representing
matter.
the head of state.
Yeah.
And you are on a diplomatic mission.
Uthunyiwe.
You understand? You don't act for yourself. No, those are my views. Me. I think what Rasul did must be marked out as delinquent behavior that is not expected of a diplomatic missionary like an ambassador. You don't do that. You do not break the capacity to have relations, you understand, with the head of state of the country to which you are sent. You must be the one that is saying the conversation is still open and all of that. And we can win, in my view, because there are so many low-hanging fruits. As I indicated, South Africa has this card on the table, which is the platinum group metals, which it's on the table. You are able to start there and redefine the relations, redefine the trade relations, and win an argument. If they go to the West, if the Americans go to the West again, there are so many balance of forces on the ground, in Congress, in Washington in general, in the churches, in sports, people who will be able to join our voice and say that they disagree with America's attitude and position on the ICJ case can't be withdrawn. The horses have bolted. And we must never apologize. What's happening in Gaza is the greatest assault on the international political system. I mean, Israel has ignored international law from its founding in 1948. And South Africa is not giving bullets to Palestinians to defend themselves. It's not giving them guns. It's taking Israel to a court. That's like, stop the genocide. It's not transporting arms. It's not even giving money to say, okay, so nipi budget nambi niyo itengela. They should be. They should be. Anyone in the world who is facing what the Palestinians are facing would be justified to give them guns, to say, defend yourselves. But South Africa goes and says, in the name of international law, in the name of international human rights. We've got the responsibility as if we allow the Israelis to obliterate the Palestinians in Gaza, what makes you think you're not next? What makes you think you're not next? Because there is AfriForum convincing the most powerful military commander-in-chief in the world that there's a genocide here.
Jeez, dangerous.
What do you think they can do? They've got a base. They've got a military base in Southern Africa.
Of course.
So you've got to insist on a global political system that respects human rights. And certainly Israel is guilty of the violation of the rights of Palestinian people. The ANC-led government has done that so many times since 1994. It's not surprise. You can't say there's something new we did. That has always been our position on the Palestinian question. Secondly and lastly, I think I said secondly many times.
No, it's fine.
The last point is that when you trace the Trump administration in the first term had good relations with South Africa. Those relations can be recovered. Because the President Trump this is what President Mbeki keeps repeating. We don't need a war. We need to choose our battles, as it were. We don't need some confrontation with the United States. We need peaceful relations with everyone. We need constructive, critical relations with everyone. President Mbeki's administration sent a delegation on the occasion of the accusation that Saddam Hussein is housing weapons of mass destruction. And led by Chikani, Aziz Pahad, and all of them went there, got to do an investigation, got a report, went to the UN, had a phone call with Bush that we can also attest there are no weapons of mass destruction. America ignored that, went in and boom, there were no weapons of mass destruction, but after the destruction of a whole country. So South Africa has always had disagreements with the United States over international issues. And I've just given that example. There are so many. We know President Mbeki indicated the other time when it came to the Zimbabwean, when it came to the Zimbabwean question, Mbeki said, look, Tony Blair came to me and said, let's do a military takeover of Mugabe. And I said, we can't do that. Zimbabweans must find solutions to the Zimbabwean question. So there's been a lot of disagreements either with Britain, either with, that is in the nature of the international relations system. I think certainly in this case, I doubt that we can recover normalizing relations between the United States and South Africa. We just need to do that as patiently as possible for the next 4 years. That's going to be very hard 4 years, but I don't want to give in. I don't think it has gone to beyond repair. I think there's still a delegation of sophisticated diplomats that Ramaphosa can send there to neutralize that situation. Yeah.
Hey, you love President Mbeki.
Well, in this case, when it comes to the international relation question, that's the president who had the bull by its horn.
Wow.
You can fault him on other things, but that's the guy who grew South Africa's powerful, influential position after 94 in the continent. Worked tirelessly to build, institutions of continental significance, to present the continent at all times as a united force within the world. We need that. We need that. Pan-Africanism is our best bet. If anything should happen, this continent must hold together or they are going to dismember it. They're going to dismember it.
Past. Hey, man. Before you go, what caught your attention this week? Anything else that caught your attention?
No, it's Jonas, man.
Yes.
Yeah, Jonas Bagui weekend special amampela nkosi yami.
But he should have said, hey man, ngap flop. You know what I mean? Like,
Jonas matot.
Ramaphosa, there was no due diligence done. Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
Who are his advisors? And also, if you've said shit about this guy and you're going there to mend a relationship broken by somebody else because he said shit about this
Trump
guy.
is so sensitive, man.
Yo! So he's a piano artist. Yo.
Trump is sensitive, man. Hey. His anger is like an open wound in perpetual arousal. Fanon quote.
Yes.
But you can't be like that, man. You can't say, I can't take disagreement. A leader of a democratic society.
Yeah.
No, man, but he's too sensitive. But Jonas, shame. Magabui.
Hey, but all of this is so entertaining, man. Like, Trump makes politics entertaining. It's like a
Really?
movie, bro. It's like a reality show, bro.
Yeah, man.
Arif, 500% tariffs in China. Okay, no, I take it back. 19.
Then it comes, it's like, no, they coming back. They want deals. You can see the
Is
phone
there-
is ringing. They all want to make deals. They crying like little girls. And you know, bro, you're talking about presidents and leaders of nations here. It's like they're all lining up. I'm like, oh, crap, man.
Dr. NDLOZI, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Any
you.
plans for Easter weekend?
No, I wanted to request a song of El, since we're going to Easter.
Yeah.
It's a Siyabonga Baba.
Oh, yeah. El Tisane. So
Yeah.
El Rajumana. Siyabonga Baba.
I wanted to
Beautiful,
request
I
that
got
song
that
as a
song.
parting shot. Yeah.
Beautiful,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll
Lovely
play it. We'll
song.
see if
El
we can get the
Tisane.
copyright removed.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get the copyright.
No, as standards in, let's be safe on the roads.
Yes.
We must not drink and drive. Too much alcohol here on the table, but laba bantu abadrive bahleli. And then mabesuka la bangena kuma Uber.
I haven't had a sip, guys. No sip today. I haven't had a sip.
Akudakwa la ekhaya. Ningadakwa abantwana benkosi, bantwana bahle. Let's come back all safe.
Where are you going? Where are you taking the family?
No. I'm going to Grace Bible Church
Oh, dope.
in Orlando Stadium. Yeah.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
those vigils, those
They do a Easter thing
Easter
the whole weekend.
thing. Yeah. You know those things, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so
That's
you
a
know-
pilgrim for them there.
Yeah, like
You the guys
Maria.
that pray for us, ne? You the guys that pray for us, ne?
We pray, everybody's gonna pray this weekend. And on the top of to this weekend's prayers, hey, let's pray for South Africa, man.
We'll be fine, man. We'll be fine.
Moria, man, Tendba Fani Moria for the prayers. Ntembi Moria, if there's a church that will pray for this country, let's see.
Yes,
That's Wanyama Ponakeni. Ntemba to culture. African Zion Church. You know? Is that CC?
ZCC, yeah.
Yeah, Zion.
Christian church.
Yeah, and it's based on Africanism.
What are you saying?
You've never
it's
met
based on
Likanyan?
seeing to money ZCC.
You never met Likanyan?
Yes.
I have.
Oh, yeah, you have, ne? Great guy, ne?
Yeah. Very charismatic.
Yeah.
Very charismatic indeed. But we need to correct that about.
Correct him.
Correct me, please.
Yeah,
For instance, I prefer man at church.
Why is the Anglican Church not South African culture?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a daughter Nasa Wesel. Come on, man.
John Wesley's church, yeah?
Pindul.
Yeah, but
John Wesley
the founder of ZCC was Christianized way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But he brought it home. You know what it's like? It's like,
Wait, I don't know that.
but he
What was
brought
he
it
doing?
home.
That uniform.
He brought it home.
I'm a page lendo by Fagin.
Okay, I want to yeah. Martin's a washer. Yeah.
It's not.
Where was he Christianized?
It's the faith mission.
Okay.
I've either Food Gospel or Faith Mission. I'm trying to recall now. I always confuse the two. But him and Shembe and the founder of Shembe Church and Mangu, the founder of St. John, clap and tap.
Yes.
Yeah. But the point is a rather simple one, is that ZCC is as a local articulation of the Christian faith as, for instance, St. John, as the Methodist Church. And the Methodist Church has a brilliant history. Yeah, but so why are you...
Why you hating?
They're not Abana Sintu.
Ngithanda nje sonto elinesintu live, yabo. Like live.
What do you mean?
Like yes, man, hey man, man. Preference yami, you know?
Yeah, but I don't want Abana Sintu, boy.
Okay, ninaso na isintu. Mara mina ngithanda isintu live.
Like Africa Back to God, which was the Assemblies of God by Nicholas Beng, you can't say it's not. I mean, he used to write properly that Jesus was not white.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of Samuel? What's his surname? Khatib, Revelation Church. Similar church as well.
I don't know it.
You don't know Revelation?
Yeah.
Samuel Khatib. It's in Joburg in Hillbrow.
There's too many churches, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, very, very African church. So the guy started at, what's this church by the Brazilians? Universal Church, right? And this is just a brief story of his, you know. Started there, obviously, wafunda khona ukubamfundisi, etc., etc. But when he opened up the church to people of all walks of life, traditional healers, etc. They didn't like what he was doing, and then he opened his own thing, and his church is like that. I mean, but it's still on God, right? But it's
on
very
the Bible.
not necessarily.
Okay.
They don't open it a lot, the Bible, but
Yabona ZCC liyashunyayelwa ke izwi leBhayibheli.
yes.
Angazi ke waya
No,
na.
I'm just asking what you think about his church.
Have you been to Moria?
Oh,
Moria?
that's heaven on earth. That's heaven on earth.
I've never.
Oh, it's amazing.
So what were you talking about, nigga?
Hey, I'm talking about the way I see it, man. Remember,
What do you see? You haven't been to Moria?
I've never been,
And you
fam.
sitting here making a bloody opinion.
I've never been.
This man,
I've never been. I've never
Fund with
But
Bible,
I've
la
heard. Thing is, it's
You
the one
heard.
church. I don't want to lie, man. Right? I love people go to church and have a source of, you know, faith, and being grounded in something that is for the betterment of the world.
Yes,
and
sir.
That makes you a good person. Anything you do that makes you a better person to the next guy, that's a good thing. You know, so keep going to your churches. But I've seen, as long as you
Keep going to your churches.
No, keep
I'm going to
your
Moria.
keep going to your churches.
Me and my house.
The thing is with the ZCC, and I think maybe I need to give them a chance at some point because Ekaya, Bognes ZCC, very close, and I've seen people, even personally, you know, who like you said earlier on with churches that scam people. People go there. A lot of people are broken when they go there, and I've seen that church fix people and their lives. You know what I mean? I've seen that happen, man, with ZCC a lot. So
There
that's
is
why I give
nobody
favor, you know?
in the world, as far as I'm concerned, who sought the face of God earnestly.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether they were speaking Taiwanese or Fanagalogo. If they sought God with all their hearts and their minds and their spirit, I believe that God would have revealed himself to them. He may have not said Jesus, but he certainly gave them the sacrificial lamb. And that is the true power of the prophetic spirit. You will be able to drink not just from the Christian cup, you'll be able to drink from Buddhism.
Yes.
You'll be able to drink from a lot of divine experiences across the world.
Yes.
There is no reason to denigrate them.
Yes.
Okay, standardization sonke. Yeah, nonke. I just said I'm a fighting one timber, but that's you're right.
But I agree that church is certainly massive. I mean,
man.
Musioni.
Yeah, Kimzion.
Ubetampo.
Yeah. Kepeta ndati.
Peta the tire.
Eh,
The tire.
tire.
Maruyampo.
Ah, kipeta kavayan.
He gets what he wants and goes. He gets pit stop. It's like a Formula 1 driver, the pit stop. They change the wheels, change the oil, refuel. Gone. Drinking and driving on a car. Where the tires are worn out, petrol empty, Kalama part young girl food. Young girl. Whoa. Pit stop.
Kamihla re tla phomola, kamihla. Sifahle olintswa le le mahlo.
So the reason why I'm asking where you guys are going, because I want to take my family to Hermanus. I was watching the Stain Heist docu. And that guy, what's his name? Marcus Euster. Comes from Hermanus. So I'm like, I want to go there. I want to see what they're doing there. Yeah, something's up there.
So you're going to check.
Yeah, I'm going to check out. I will come back and report what I saw. I've never heard of it. Did you hear it? It was the first time I heard of it on the document.
Don't be captured.
Have you heard of him, Hermanas?
Yeah, I've heard. Hey, I used to work a lot in the country, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like? It's been my first time there. What's it like?
Well, I think you must go and tell us. No spoiler alerts.
The racism, is it bad?
No spoiler alerts. Let's see what happens. Let's see what MacG in Hermanas.
All right, Dr. NDLOZI, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Quint.
very much.
Quintessential NDLOZI. Hola, Quinty.
We need to let you go. You've been up since 2 a.m.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you're just doing radio. That's it.
For now, yeah. I'm doing radio for now. That is the major gig. Yeah, there are 2 other things that are in the process. I'm unable to say what they are.
Of course, yeah.
But additionally is music.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
hey.
People have been calling for that, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're really deep with this music thing, man.
Yeah. I mean, you must explore your talents, live your life, as much as you can, and that I'm exploring.
I'm gonna suggest a guest for your show. Have Duduzo Makatini.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's my brother.
You
my brother.
guys a conversation between the 2 of you
Yeah,
about everything, spirituality, music.
No, I like doctor.
Would be amazing.
He's a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be amazing.
doctor.
Man.
Before you
Would be
leave, sorry,
amazing.
man. Last question. We've been seeing a lot of young piano artists doing lives this past week, talking about how the industry is exploiting them. There's a guy, his name is PC, yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
PC.
How are they being exploited?
So he was basically saying, he went on a live, right? He's a producer, a very good one, right?
And artist. Singer,
These artists come to him. I think he was talking about Uncle Waffles, ne?
Yeah, well, he came out and said he was not talking about Uncle Waffles, but because, he said they come to him and then they get pushed by these online blogs. To me, it sounded like Waffles because Creative Corner, Waffles, and Waffles, some of Uncle Waffles' biggest songs have him.
Yes.
Which one? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Yabba.
Yes, these PC songs now. So yeah, but it sounded like it's talking about Waffles. Go on.
Basically, he was saying that these big artists, right? So he's not as big as, let's just say, for example, Uncle Waffles, right? But he's on his way. He's on his journey. He wants to get there. So these big artists come, and when you're trying to get there, obviously you want to work with them because they gives you a bigger audience, a bigger platform to reach other people, right? But then these people just come, take the music, then they start touring with your song overseas, make money, and then every song has a lifespan, right? And then when the lifespan is done, they come back to you again wanting another hit song. It's like, why are you exploiting us?
But that's not exploitation.
Okay.
In what way? Producers do that. The prospects of a single song are not known. They are not known. And that's the thing with music today. In the past, the sale of cassettes or CDs guaranteed income for producers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because on the sale of an album, there's a cut or a single song, whatever. At the moment, nobody's making money from the sales on streams, from the sales, very little to insignificant. There's nobody making, there's nobody.
Like the YouTube story we're talking about.
Yeah,
So
much.
Waffles goes and gigs.
Yes.
The performance is what's making the money. So by the time you get to a situation where at the production, for me to give you a song, you charge. So he should just negotiate the production fee.
Must charge.
But you can't say you are being exploited.
You must charge.
That's not the relationship of exploitation.
And yeah, you're right, because why is it only after the song is big?
Hey, because as Waffles, you don't know whether the song I just got will be big or not. Will it give me... Because people are asking for Waffles, but they're also asking for... At that instance, there's this big song, which is a Waffle song.
Yes.
And the propensity of a Waffle song being big is big because of Waffles. So there's too much going on there. At the production level, you get a cut for the production.
Yeah.
Maybe from time to time, you can say, when the song has 1 million streams, I get this. When it goes to 2 million streams, I get this. When it goes to 10 million streams, you can negotiate a contract of that nature. Or you can say, most people do that. Take my cut and leave. You get what I mean? So there's no I say, shame. Imagine Waffles exploiting
Bro,
me.
you're right, man. It goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. She's built a brand.
Yeah, I
It's
mein,
worth something. You can't devalue it just because you gave
from
her a beat.
Tanzania, ne?
No,
Waffles, nah, Swaziland.
Swaziland.
No, in that underground thing of Tulani.
Asibone Tanzania.
You know Tanzania?
I know Tanzania. Very, like, it's a brilliant story. I mean, of proper underground, you know? Not just underground, but the underclass.
So you won't rate someone less even if they didn't contribute in any of the production?
Most artists don't. Dude, like the talent when it comes to music today is in putting up a show. There's a show I can't recall where they got composers to come sing the songs that they wrote for big artists. You would discover, someone like Rihanna doesn't really write most of her music.
No.
But it's historic. That's why Quincy Jones is big. You get what I mean? He's a producer. You know that Quincy was behind the reshaping of Michael Jackson's coming back into the scene. But I'm saying that the music industry and the production relations at the time were different. Today, nobody makes money out of having a song on iTunes, having a song on Spotify and all of that. It's now really just about gigging.
So what?
And it becomes really, in the final analysis, an artist.
So what space and music are you gonna be in?
Kwicho.
What's that?
Oh yeah. I see
Atande.
That's gospel.
Na. Atande. Acapella Kwicho songs.
Yeah.
The soil. Yeah.
It is.
The soil.
You know, do you have TikTok?
No, I don't.
Search Kwicho on TikTok. Those songs.
Yeah.
It's massive.
It's normally a clap and tap vibes, but for young people.
Kwicho is a proper local, maybe folk is maybe stretching it to say. It's a folk music type of sound. But in the main, with Lengoma Zama comrades, bizwi Kwicho. Yeah. But they don't have to sing about struggle only or political themes. They can
style.
They're also those wedding songs.
Yes.
You understand?
And churchy ones.
And then there are the ones that are spiritual hymns.
So are you singing in those?
Some of them. I mean,
Your Uncle Waffles?
I'm doing the other one who's crying to being exploited.
He sings, man. You know who he sings, man. You know.
But I'll jazz as well as gospel.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
Jazz, bro.
man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mtukudzi sound, Ringo sound.
Man.
Bro,
we can do
It
productions.
seems like you've
like
taken
that.
off the shackles, bro.
No, but I was involved when I was still in the EFF. EFF had 5 albums.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was involved in the production.
So what's the masters of that?
The organization. Yeah, not us. The organization.
Who holds the keys to the song? You know songs have keys.
Yes.
Who holds the keys? Who's the key holder? Who holds the master key?
No. It's easy to register those things now. Like
Yes, several.
So the
and all
DSPs
these
have made
guys.
that type of ownership of music for individuals much easier.
Yeah.
Universal and all those people can't quite have the same control they used to.
Yeah.
But Tango.
Dr. Ndlozi, thank you so much, man.
Peace, man.
Ingo
I'm
Maya.
actually going
So
to a
much.
listening session.
Yes. Can we play it with the song? What's the song once again?
L Tisani.
Siyabonga baba.
Let me bring home the late IFP leader. Remember, he's got a
Oh,
video.
yes,
Siyabonga baba.
Yeah.
But you'll hear the better version of it
It's the
now.
first time we're playing gospel on the show, man.
Well, it's Easter.
Oh, yeah!
Easter! Shout out. Enjoy the
Easter.
Easters, man.
Yeah.
Stay away from the
We are here, man. Podcast and chill.
Jesus.
If you've made it this far, we really appreciate you guys. Make sure you support by subscribing, liking, sharing, and don't forget to comment. Kezo.